Everyone's talking about a cool down, but what's actually happening in Southwest Washington is something completely different. A full reset, so to say. Homes are sitting longer, sellers are offering more, and smart buyers are stepping in while everyone else seems to be hesitant. And here's what's happening beneath the surface right now. Days on market, the time spent on the market for each listing across Clark County, Washington, have stretched from roughly 3 weeks to nearly 2 months, which is gonna give buyers more time and more leverage again. Inventory, let's talk about inventory. Inventory is up year over year with new listings rising while closed sales hold steady, which is gonna create the most balanced market we've had in years. And the price growth has officially leveled off. Places like Vancouver, Camas, and Ridgefield are all sitting in the 0 to 2% range instead of the double-digit surges we saw before. I'm Hayden Humphrey, your local real estate advisor here in Southwest Washington. I help buyers, sellers, and relocators make confident moves across Vancouver, Camas, Ridgefield, and other areas in Southwest Washington, using local data and strategy to protect your equity and spot opportunities the headlines seem to overlook. So let's break down exactly what shifted and what these changes really mean for you, whether you're buying, selling, or relocating here to Southwest Washington. Now, I work with a lot of people that relocate here from out of state, and typically on our introduction call, the first question I get is, well, how's the market over in Southwest Washington? Because here over in Texas, Florida, New Hampshire, wherever, this is what we're seeing. We want to know what you guys are seeing, boots on the ground. And that's one of the reasons that prompted me to make a video like this. So stay tuned. So according to the headlines, the numbers still look fine on paper. Prices across Southwest Washington haven't really fallen that much. Most countywide reports show flat to slightly positive growth, giving the illusion that nothing's really changed. In Clark County alone, from August to September 2025, the median sales price is $490,000 to $510,000, which is a 1 to 2% year-over-year increase. The inventory is hovering around 2.5 to 3 months, about double what we saw in 2022. And we all remember 2022, chaos. Like I said before, the average market time is stretching from 25 days to nearly 55 to 65 days, according to Realtor.com. And new listings are up 3 to 4% year-over-year, while closed sales remain flat. So in translation, the prices appear stable, but the tempo underneath is definitely slowing down. We're finally seeing a balanced market forming after years of intense seller dominance. When we bring up 2020 to 2022, my wife and I always look at each other and just laugh because it was hysterical what the market was doing. We remember working with 10 plus buyers at a time, showing houses every day, making offers on the weekend, waiting until Monday to get that no. Oh, we got 16 offers on the table. We got 20 offers on the table. There was one I submitted. They literally had 40 offers in one weekend come in. And that is what we saw the last couple years. And so when I mention intense seller dominance, that is what I mean. Number 2, the stable data masks real change. Median prices alone don't tell the full story. They're being held up by lower sales volume and selective high-end transactions in places like Camas and Philida. The mid-tier and entry-level markets reveal the real shifts, longer days on market, concessions, and price reductions. For example, the homes under $600,000 still move relatively quickly compared to other homes on the market, but only when they're priced right and move-in ready. Overpriced listings are seeing multiple price cuts before selling. Something I noticed personally was builders in Ridgefield and East Vancouver are once again offering rate buydowns and closing cost credits. What this means is it's not a downturn. This is more of like a normalization, so to say. Buyers now have breathing room and sellers need to compete on presentation and pricing and not just the scarcity. So why does this matter? The market psychology has definitely shifted. It's something I've noticed, it's something my wife has noticed, and my brokerage has noticed. Buyers tend to be a lot more selective, payment focused, and negotiation savvy. While on the other hand, sellers must adjust to longer sales cycles and that reduced urgency. And this is not something to be fearful of. This is a balancing that we're seeing. And that balance is reshaping offers, pricing, and timelines all across Clark County, Southwest Washington real estate. So next, we'll look at what actually shifted this year, how tempo, inventory, and buyer behavior are rewriting the rules across Vancouver, Camas, and Ridgefield. And all this data I pulled was from Redfin.com, Rocket.com, and Realtor.com. So whenever I hop on an introductory Zoom call or phone call, one of the first questions I get is, what really shifted this year? Not last year, not the year before, what's happening this year? And I tell them, well, there's definitely like a tempo change. Homes are sitting longer. Average days on market climbed from 25 days last year to roughly 55 to 65 days this fall. Even in popular places like Camas and Philida, homes that once sold in a weekend now take 5 to 8 weeks. So to translate this, buyers finally have breathing room and sellers can't rely on instant offers like they've done in years past. Overall negotiation is back. Price cuts and concessions are rising. And here's a quick fact for you. 1 in 4 Clark County listings now show a price reduction, which is the highest that percentage has been since 2019. So what are buyers asking for? Buyers are asking typically for seller paid closing costs, rate buy down, to get you in the mid 5% range, and then overall repairs and repair credits before closing. In fact, builders in Ridgefield and East Vancouver are offering $10,000 to $20,000 in closing cost credits and temporary rate buy downs. And I'm generally speaking here, but paying full price is no longer the norm. Creative terms are back. Now let's talk about inventory. Active listings are up 3 to 4% year over year, and roughly Clark County right now is 2,600 homes for sale. And this is an interesting stat. The months of supply that we had in inventory rose from 1.5 to 3, which is kind of the first balanced market since 2019. And I remember 2020 through 2022, a lot of people made jokes. They said, all I gotta do is stick a sign in the yard and it's gonna sell. And they weren't wrong. But now it's completely different. And the new listings are pretty flat year over year, and there's growth driven by longer turnover and not distress. Translation, more choice for buyers without panic selling. And overall, the demand has shifted, not just disappeared. The closed sales are slightly down, about 2 to 3% year over year, and the sub $600,000 segment remains strong in Battleground and in Ridgefield. Some of the luxury areas around here, such as the Camas River District and Philida, show higher days on market and multiple price reductions throughout. The relocation buyers coming from Seattle, Portland, and California are still active, but a lot more price sensitive, so to speak. Overall, demand really hasn't vanished. I would say it's smarter and more value driven. So this really isn't about crashing prices like some people think. It's about tempo, leverage, and overall psychology. And next, we're gonna be looking at how these trends play out different across Southwest Washington submarkets, from entry-level neighborhoods to luxury corridors like Camas and Philida. 2 markets, 2 speeds. The core suburbs in Clark County seem to be balanced and active. The Vancouver median sales price is $490,000 as of September 2025, which is a 2.1% increase year over year. And the average days on market is 33 days versus 21 days that we had last year. In Battleground, the median sales price is $530,000, which is a 4.7% decrease year over year, with the average days on market being 71 days in Battleground versus the 52 days on market that we had on average last year. Now let's go to Ridgefield. The median sales price is $618,000, which is a decrease in 14.5% year over year. Wow. With the average days on market being 70 days, which is about flat if you're looking at year over year. Now the Clark County overall median is $553,000, which is a small decrease year over year, very small. With the county-wide days on market is 41 days versus the 35 days on market we had last year. So in translation, the demand is steady but slower. Correct pricing and clean presentation still move homes in 30 to 45 days in the most competitive pockets. Now in Clark County, the luxury and view corridors are cooling, but they are stable. In Camas, the median home price is $804,000 as of September of 2025, which is a 1.9% decrease year over year, with the average days on market moving up a little bit from the year before, 43 days versus 26 that we had last year. In the zip code 98607 in the Camas area, the median home price is $808,000, which is a 5.2% decrease year over year, with the average days of market of 33 days. Now the upper tier is definitely more selective. Pricing is stable to slightly lower, and time on market is longer than last year. Now looking at downtown Vancouver, the median home price is $515,000, which is a 13.1% increase year over year, with the average days on market 57 days versus 14 that we had last year. That's a big jump, guys. In the zip code 98661, the median home price was $430,000, with a 6.3% decrease year over year, with the average days on market 34 days versus the 19 we had last year. Now what I mean by all that is in these specific areas, the buyers chase updated interiors and walkability. and the dated homes, unfortunately, are sitting longer and need price alignment. In the new construction corridors, the builders seem to set the tempo. The Ridgefield Zip 98642, the median sales price is $659,000, which is a 6.3% increase year over year, with the days on market being 70 days versus 41 days on market that we had last year. The suburbs with steady building show longer days on market and more spec inventory, pressuring resale pricing to account for those incentives. The market-wide county days on market and modest year-over-year price changes reflect this balance. So in translation, the builder incentives are creating a ceiling for resale pricing, with terms and total payment often beating the list price optics. Now, depending on the price point and the zip code, you are living in a different version of Southwest Washington. The common thread is more inventory, longer days on market, and smarter, term-focused deals. Now let's break down this inventory. The inventory is higher and the market is balanced. The Clark County months of inventory in September is 3.6, and with a total market time of 65 days and a median sales price throughout Clark County is $545,000. In fact, the RMLS came out in September in their report and said the region has settled around 3.5 months of inventory. Now in Vancouver, the median sales price is $490,000 as of September 2025, with the median days on market is 33 days versus the 21 we had last year. Overall, buyers have more options and more time. Conditions are more balanced rather than seller dominant like they used to be. Overall, price drops and longer timelines are kind of the new norm here. Now, Washington statewide, 35.6% of listings had price drops in September of 2025, which is up from 32% a year earlier. And overall homes sold above list fell to 24.8%, with the median days on market being 35 days. Now in Clark County, the average days on market went from 41 days to 35 from last year. In translation, negotiation power is stronger, and I think the patience really pays off. And pricing and terms matter more than speed. I have this conversation a lot with the clients I work with. And how patient are you gonna be and how proactive are you gonna be when you're entering the buyer's market? Now, the suburbs under the 600K mark remain the most active, but properly priced and move-in ready homes still sell the fastest. The Vancouver median home price is $490,000 with a slower pace than last year. Countywide market time is notably higher than last year, signaling slower turnover rather than distress. Overall, the market is very layered, I'd say. The value segments are active, but overpriced or dated listings tend to sit right now. And overall, builders are shaping the ceiling for resale. Local updates and on-the-ground reports show builders in Ridgefield, La Center, and East Vancouver are using rate buydowns and closing cost credits to move spec inventory. And this typically means it's going to pressure resale pricing to account for those incentives. In translation, comparing total monthly payment and not just sticker price is important. Builder terms often set buyer expectations overall throughout the county. So the answer is yes, inventory is higher and timelines are longer. But overall, that creates a healthier and strategy-first market where the buyers tend to negotiate more and the sellers who adapt are still gonna win. Now, I'm on a few mastermind calls, and what I've noticed is overall, the consensus around the nation is the buyer psychology is definitely changing in the real estate market. And here in Clark County, the urgency seems to be kind of gone. Clark County's total market time has climbed to about 65 days, up from roughly 35 days a year ago. So over the past couple of years, those days on market has just climbed. And I really tend to notice this when hot pockets like Camas and Ridgefield now take 5 to 8 weeks on average to secure offers. And it's wild to think, because years ago, if someone had a home for sale in one of those hot pockets, boy oh boy, they would be gone quick. Overall, buyers are slowing down and touring multiple homes and running payment comparisons instead of just rushing in, let's throw an offer in right now. What I'm trying to tell you is the frenzy is kind of over and the decisions are strategic and not just emotional like they used to be. So what does that mean for you as a buyer? Here's what I think. I think negotiation and leverage are back. About 35.6% of listings across Washington saw price drops in September 2025, which is up from 32%. And only about 24.8% of homes sold above the list price statewide, which is down sharply from the 2022 levels, no duh. In Clark County, roughly 1 in 4 listings now shows a price reduction or a seller credit offered. And so what are buyers asking for? Buyers are routinely asking for seller paid closing costs, rate buydowns, maybe to get them lower to the 5% range, repair credits, or update allowance before closing. And in general, buyers have leverage again full price offers are no longer the baseline that we've seen. So when you enter the market as a buyer, I will say that there are so many different things on your mind. Can we afford this? Can we afford this? How's the job market looking? Do we have enough money? And overall, affordability is going to drive almost every decision. And monthly payment, how much is my mortgage going to be, is now going to be the key metric. For example, builder incentives and things like seller credits can make a $525,000 new home cheaper to own than a $490,000 resale at a higher rate. Rising insurance and property taxes keep buyers focused on total cost of ownership. In translation, buyers buy payments, not prices. I will say that overall confidence is returning, and slowly. The stabilized pricing across Clark County will give buyers confidence after years of ups and downs. When should I enter the market? Is this affordable? Is this the right time to buy? So people relocated from Seattle, Portland, and California are touring in person again because competition has definitely cooled down. And between the people I work with and the listings I have that are getting toured by these people, I feel like a lot of these people looking at properties here are from Seattle, California, or Portland. Now the move-up buyers, I will say, see a short-term window before rates decline and the bidding pressures returns. Fear has turned into a strategy where buyers are acting with clarity and not panic. So if the psychology has completely flipped from fear of missing out to fear of overpaying, the buyers winning in this market are the ones who understand data, timing, and overall negotiation power. So I've thrown a lot of Renda and Strateta data at you, but what you're probably watching this video for is you're like, well, what does this mean for me? So I'm gonna tell you, if you're buying, here's what you need to focus on. I would focus on homes that have been listed for 30 to 45 days because that's where negotiation leverage starts to appear. Asking upfront about incentives like seller paid closing costs or repair credits, rate buydowns, or overall upgrades, repairs, or appraisal gap credits is going to be important. And I think a big thing is to look at your overall total monthly payment and not just the sticker price. Incentives often make new homes more affordable than resale. And I like to say be patiently aggressive. Be ready to act fast when the true value shows up. Well-priced homes under $600K are still moving quickly. Overall, this is a very rare buyer's window with more inventory, less competition, and real negotiating power. Now, a few months ago, a client called me out of state. This was a new client for me, and he had a lot of questions about Southwest Washington in general, where to live, what to look for, and what was the market doing compared to his area. And I was honest with him. I ran through the data, through the timing, through the days on market, and everything else I could, and we got a strategy down. And I'm happy to say that over the course of the next couple months, we went through a bunch of tours, we made an offer, and he got a great deal on a property. Now, if you're on the flip side of that and you're selling, I would recommend pricing for today's markets, not the 2022 headlines, and not what your neighbor sold back in 2022. Even a 3 to 5% overpricing mistake can mean weeks of sitting and price cuts. And obviously, professional photos, light staging, and overall strong presentation is recommended and can shorten the days on market 20 to 30%. And when you list your home, expect negotiation. Closing costs can help, or repairs, or simply small price adjustments throughout the listing period are normal. Cleaned, staged, and correctly priced listings still go under contract in 30 to 45 days on average. Overall, the sellers who adapt early seem to win, and the strategy beats nostalgia. Now, there's a good chance that you're watching this video, you're probably relocating. Use this slowdown to your advantage. No more sight unseen bidding wars. If you're thinking about relocating here, it's important to compare lifestyle and commute trade-offs. Camas and East Vancouver, top schools, newer homes, higher pricing stability, places like Ridgefield and Battleground that are family friendly, growing inventory, and a better bang for your buck. Or a place like Central Vancouver with mature neighborhoods, convenient access, and a slower pace but strong resale base are places you should be looking. And builders are competing aggressively for people relocating here. Large credits and below market rates can often offset those higher interest costs. For out-of-state buyers, this is the most flexible, strategic window Southwest Washington has offered in years. I'm telling you that. Now, if you are in this position and you want to get a strategy together, the first thing I'd recommend is checking out my relocation guide that I made. It's all about Southwest Washington. I grew up here. I actually grew up in Battleground, and I know everything there is to know about this area. So feel free to check out that link below and download the guide. So whether you're buying, selling, or relocating, the rules have changed. This isn't a crash. It's a market that finally rewards data, patience, and overall strategy when you are entering the buyer's market. The Southwest Washington housing market didn't crash, it corrected. Inventory is up, Days on market have nearly doubled since last year, and the days of instant bidding wars are gone. Now, negotiation is back. Sellers who overprice are chasing the market with reductions, and buyers finally have time to compare their options, asking for credits and using builder incentives that didn't exist even a year ago. It's a lot different than it was a few years ago, guys. This is a healthier market, but it definitely punishes anyone still playing by the old rules. It's not about listing high and waiting anymore. It's about understanding timing, data, and your overall leverage. I'm Hayden Humphrey, your local real estate advisor here in Southwest Washington. My job is to help you see the market clearly. What's shifting, where are the real opportunities, and how to make a confident decision whether you're buying, selling, or relocating. Now, if you want a data-driven plan that fits your budget and timeline, feel free to reach out or just shoot me a DM with the word shift. I'll send you my 2025 market strategy guide. It breaks down current inventory trends, builder incentives, and my framework for making smart moves in today's market. No pressure, just straight answers, local insight, and a clear plan to help you win in this new phase of the Southwest Washington housing market. Thanks for watching.